I know you're going to say, and you're going to be right, that the second quarter is just one piece of a longer arc for GM. But to take that one piece, you did very well on revenues, better than people expected. You set a new record on EBITDA. You fell short of what people expected on earnings per share. How much of that was because of the $1 billion in costs on a recall?
Well, certainly that's going to have an impact. But again, we're always going to do the right thing for our customers. We prioritize their safety. And so it was the right thing to do. We've learned from it. We know it's a very unique situation when two manufacturing defects that are quite rare happen in the same cell that causes the potential for a fire. So we're going to address it, and we'll move forward. I think it's also important to note when we look at our Ultium platform, that is a whole new battery system, and that's what underpins the Hummer EV that will be out yet this year, the brake drop products, and then, of course, next year with the Lyric.
Well, that's what I was going to ask about. How do you make sure that this doesn't happen? You're making a substantial investment in electric vehicles. You've actually advanced the time that you're going to invest some of that money, $35 billion, as I recall. How do you make sure you don't have this problem again?
Well, of course, anytime we have an issue, we have an outstanding engineering team, and they look to make sure we never repeat that issue. But I also think it's important to note that as we go forward, we've announced 4 battery cell plants. Those will be joint ventures. GM brings our manufacturing expertise and our quality processes, and I think that should give people great assurance as well.
There's another headwind that you've been facing, and that's semiconductors, as all the auto industry has been facing. Give us an update on that. How many fewer, particularly trucks, are you going to make in the third quarter than you otherwise would because of the shortage of semiconductors?
Well, I would say, we increased our guidance for the full year. So I think that shows our confidence that we're going to continue to perform on top of an exceptionally strong H1. But we'll be very fluid. Right now, we work, and it's on daily for the team that's working on it, but weekly from a leadership team. We're looking at making sure we understand the semiconductor situation, and we're allocating chips to our highest demand to take care of our customers, and also the vehicles that are in plants that are capacity constrained, and that is especially our full-size trucks and SUVs. So you'll see us continue to do that. There is a lot of growing uncertainty because of the Delta variant. We've seen an impact in Malaysia, and we've mapped it out in detail. And so we're working to share our safety protocols because we have the experience to say when people follow those protocols, they can be in their manufacturing operations, or whether it's design or R&D, they can do that safely. So we're going to continue to share that, work with our tier 1s and all the way down to our tier 4s to make sure they have that benefit, and then we'll just keep maximizing production.
So, Mary, I'm glad you brought up the Delta variant because we're all trying to come to terms with it, a very uncertain development here. Give us a sense of what you think it might mean for General Motors. You just mentioned semiconductors more broadly in your manufacturing.
Well, we did announce to our teams yesterday, and it started today, that we're reinstituting the mandatory mask policy at all of our sites because we know when people wear masks and follow the appropriate social distancing and the sanitizing recommendations, people can be safe at work. And so I think we're in a very different position than we were over a year ago when really we weren't sure. We know the protocols work, so we're going to be applying those. And again, as we all leverage all the learnings we've had over the last 15 months, I think that's going to put us in a better position for H2. But we are monitoring carefully, and the team will continue to adjust. So,
Mary, we're talking about some headwinds that you've been facing. What about some possible tailwinds, particularly with respect to pricing? Because there's something of a shortage of vehicles for all sorts of reasons. Prices seem to be pretty robust. How much is that lifting your profitability?
Well, clearly the strong pricing environment and the strong demand is something that is really supporting our strong earnings. But I would also say when you look at General Motors specifically, we have an incredibly strong product portfolio that we're offering. The customers are responding, and we're also working to be more efficient with inventory. We've given our dealers tools that they can see what's coming. There's many times a truck arrives at a dealer, and most of the vehicles on the truck are already sold. We're also also helping them order the most popular or the best configured vehicles for their era using data analytics. That's allowing us to move vehicles faster. So, I think because of our portfolio, even though there'll come a point when we have more availability that they'll see some moderation in price, I still think we have a strong pricing opportunity. And of course, we're going to be more efficient with all the lessons we've learned in this last 6 months.
And finally, Mara, I mentioned the substantial investment General Motors is making in electric vehicles. What visibility do you have into the demand for those vehicles? I know you're going to start taking some orders for the Lyriq in September, but do you know that there will be the demand there? I know you're going to have the supply.
Well, we do a lot of customer research, and customers are telling us if it's a beautifully styled vehicle with about 300 miles of range, it's affordable, and then there's a robust charging infrastructure, they're very interested in owning an electric vehicle. So that's why we're working on the ecosystem to make sure as customers buy an electric vehicle, it's a outstanding customer experience. And that's, I think, what we're going to need to do to drive EV adoption, but I'm confident that we will. And then when I look at our products that are coming out, the vehicles, we haven't shared many of them, but when you look at the strong demand for the Hummer EV and the strong interest in the Lyriq that will begin to take orders next month, I feel very confident that we're going to see strong EV adoption.